I had been most of my life working on educational issues, also in environmental issues and cultural efforts. Life gives you a lot of possibilities that you can take or you can refuse. There are plenty of experiences in every period of my life, but I think the one that is more remarkable is when I was 17 years old and the leaders of the high school where I studied, they asked me to be a teacher. And I was surprised, totally surprised. They say, why me? I'm not prepared, but it was so important in my life because it was a decision in between what happens before and what will happen after. Because being a teacher moves me towards my goal in life, that is improve quality of education in my country and in other countries also. Then when I decided to accept the proposal of the rector of my high school, at the beginning I was afraid and scared to be in front of this public, all young people, some of them even more age than me because I was only 17 and probably they were older than me, like 18 or 19. But since the beginning, when I accepted that, I take it like a big challenge in my life. I enjoyed it and I feel the importance to be an educator. Then this was a very remarkable situation in my life. Another thing that was remarkable in my life is when I get the possibility to be the head of the Amazon Cooperation Treaty Organization. It put me in relation with the most important basin, hydrographic basin and biodiversity basin in the world, that is the Amazon region. More than 7 million of square kilometers, the 40% of South America, with the biggest biodiversity. When I see the pictures that the astronauts take from the space, I can see that the greenest part of the world is precisely the Amazon jungle. Then I had to take care of the Amazon and also the people that live in the Amazon. And it was really such an experience, a great experience for me, but it developed in my case, a passion for environment and to protect the environment and to talk to people about the fantastic world that we have and how we have to take care of it. I am lucky that I had the opportunity to work in the fields that I love, that I like the most. Education for me is a passion. I feel that it's my main goal in life to make it better life of people through education. The idea is that you can get everything you want through education, because if you talk about pandemia, coronavirus, what you are learning, that you have to wash your hands, to use a mask, it's education for health. If you talk about environmental issues, you must have education because you must preserve the environment, you have fight against climate change. If you want to have a position in life, you have to educate yourself. And the advice is that education never ends. You must learn every day of your life. The other big advice has to deal with ethics. Ethics are not so important nowadays in education fields, but I think that we have to come back to values on education. And they are not older. Values are forever. Like, for example, you have to talk about respect. You have to talk about tolerance. And all the values, the old values, are really very fresh now. And we need to practice it. My goal in life was to be a writer, and I developed a career being a writer. I write books for small kids, for teenagers, for adult public also. It was my goal in life, but I never imagined that I could be in politics. But when I get the proposals, when I was into political campaigns, of course I have to work very hard because nothing is free, like you get a position free. No, you have to work for it. And that's a big lesson that I want to transmit for young people, because when I talk with my nephews and nieces, say, "Oh, Auntie, you are very lucky." And I say, "Yes, I'm lucky, of course, but I have to work to be lucky. It is not that it arrives to you and you get the opportunity and you rest and say, okay, I get this and now I rest." No, No, I work, I don't know, maybe 18, 20 hours per day. I sleep very little because I don't need that, and I'm very active and I love to do that. For me, work is something that I feel that is a blessing. It is not like a punish for me. Work is fantastic and I love to work. I mentioned to be part of some boards like the Library of Alexandria, of the Encyclopedia Britannica editorial board. They are kind of awards for me. Of course, I received many medals, many diplomas. Even this year, I received one called Benazir Bhutto because of the human rights, like a human rights defender. And I received maybe some that I received when I was very young, like being the best student of my school and my high school and my university. I remember them with more emotion probably than others because they cost me a lot of effort to be a good student. And of course, some that I received during the last years in my own city, because sometimes you think that in your own city you didn't get the recognition. Those were very, very precious for me. And this year, I received the nomination to be candidate for General Secretary of the United Nations. That's a big award in my life because I never imagined that, and I received the support of many, many young people all around the world. That's the best award that I can receive. That the life has been so generous with me that gives me more than I asked for. I was dreaming to travel, to know places, because I study and I love it, history, and I used to teach history also. And I said, oh my God, I want to go to Egypt, to Greece, to Spain, to Asia, to different parts of the world. And one of the places that I never had the possibility to visit was Egypt, and was one of my biggest desires. And I was dreaming about the pyramids and the Library of Alexandria, but it never happens. I didn't have the opportunity to go. But once when I was in my own city here in Quito, where I live, in the capital of Ecuador, I received a mail, and someone invited me to give a lecture in the Library of Alexandria, and said, my God, I am going to visit Egypt, and I take the opportunity to visit other places. But I was thinking, yeah, I get the opportunity and that's all. But after 6 months, I received an invitation to be part of the board of the Library of Alexandria. Then imagine, I was only asking to the life to let me the possibility to visit Egypt, but not to visit every year like I am doing now before the pandemic. And another example is when I was like a teenager, at that time we didn't have internet, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have anything. When you have to make some research, when you have a homework, you have to go to the library and or look at encyclopedias. That's where you get the knowledge and to do your homework. And I was a little envious about a friend of my father that had Encyclopedia Britannica at his home, and say, oh, I would love to have Encyclopedia Britannica because this is the biggest encyclopedia in the world, and I want to have this. But it wasn't possible at the time because it was so expensive. But listen to that. I received an invitation when I was living in Brazil to be part of the editorial board of Encyclopedia Britannica. Of course, I get the encyclopedia I have behind me. That's the reason that I have this here, because it was so important for me. We have to go into this post-pandemic era that put us with a lot of challenges. I like to think about a better normal with more conscious in the people, with the necessities that people have. About conscience, you must be conscious about yourself, your potentialities, about the things that you can do, the things that you can learn from the others, the things that you can share with others. All is about conscious, to be responsible, to be behaving in a proper way in different moments in your life. It has to be with conscience. You must be conscious about yourself and about the others, and the possibilities that you can create for the others has a lot to be with conscience. Then I think the first two lessons that we learned from the pandemic is about education and health. We have to improve public education and public health in our countries. Why is it? Because to private health or private education, a little population can access to that, but to public health or public education, quality public health and quality public education, it will be really very important to improve in the different countries, because it has to be available for everybody, not only for the people that have money, but for everybody, quality education and quality health. The other thing that we have to talk is about environmental issues and how we can learn the lessons. We really know that plastic, for example, is getting used in a very bad way, plastic of only one use, and it's contaminating the oceans and contaminating and polluting all the environments. Then we have to fight this other war, not only the pandemic of coronavirus, but also climate change. And it's a responsibility of all of us. Then how important is to protect the environment, and how important is education, environmental education, to make conscious everyone of our responsibility. We have to recycle, we have to reuse, we have not to spend all the beauties that we have in nature and all the gifts that we had received, like the biodiversity, like the water, the clean air. It is so important. Then we have to learn the lessons, and we have to act and to take the responsibility, each one of us.